I never thought a single sentence could cut through a lifetime, but that night at our family dinner it did. My sister leaned back in her chair, smirking, and told me I didn't deserve our family name. My mom nodded. My dad kept staring at his plate. And for a moment, I felt myself shrinking, disappearing right in front of the people who were supposed to love me. Then my grandpa stood up. Slow, steady. And what he said shattered her smile in an instant. Most people think the story ends there with his words. But the truth, the real truth, came after. My name is Aleliana, and for most of my life, I learned to shrink myself to keep the peace. My sister was always the star, the favorite, the one who represented the family. And me? I was the quiet one, the steady one, the one people forgot until they needed something organized. At work, people appreciate me. They trust me with decisions. But in my parents' house, those same qualities somehow made me invisible. Still, the only person who ever truly saw me was Grandpa. He always said, "A family name doesn't make you worthy. Your character does." I didn't know then how much I would need those words. The week before the dinner, little things started piling up. My sister dropped hints about future responsibilities. My mom made comments about how some people don't contribute enough. Cousins whispered that Grandpa might choose someone to handle part of the family legacy. And everyone assumed that someone would be my sister. By the morning of the dinner, the tension had shape. Heavy, predictable, familiar. Mom sent a dress code. My sister sent salon selfies. I just chose clothes that felt like me. When I walked into my parents' house, it was the usual dynamic. My sister was beautiful. I looked sweet. Her dish was amazing. Mine got a polite smile. Dad walked by me with the kind of pat on the shoulder that feels more like dismissal. By the time we sat at the table, the air felt tight. Every time I spoke, my sister talked louder. Every time someone asked me something, she redirected the spotlight back to herself. And no one stopped her. Not my mom. Not my dad. Not even the relatives shifting uncomfortably around us. But Grandpa watched. Quiet. Studying. And my sister could feel it, which only made her louder. The moment everything broke open, my aunt asked me about work. I answered maybe 3 sentences. Then my sister laughed loudly, cutting across my words, and launched into one of her dramatic stories about herself. It was so blatant even the table went silent for a moment. But I didn't react. I didn't shrink. I just sat there, steady, finally seeing everything clearly. And then my sister found her moment. She leaned back, smiling that rehearsed smile, and said loudly, "Not everyone at this table deserves our family name. Some people just exist here." Quiet. Forgettable. Mom nodded. Dad looked down. And something in me went perfectly still. Then Grandpa lifted his glass. A single, soft tap. The entire room froze. He stood. Calm. Heavy. Certain. My sister straightened, ready for praise. Instead, he looked at her and said quietly, "You think she isn't worthy of our name?" She blinked. "I'm just being honest." He raised a hand, silencing her instantly. Then he said the words that cracked the room wide open. "Then neither are you." Gasps. Silence. Shock dripping across every face. Grandpa continued. "For months, I've been watching, listening, deciding who should carry this family's legacy. And tonight, you showed me everything I needed to know." He looked directly at my sister. "You've mistaken arrogance for strength, entitlement for leadership, cruelty for confidence." She swallowed hard, tears threatening. Mom whispered excuses. Dad looked defeated. Then Grandpa turned to me. "Aleliana," he said, "you have carried yourself with grace in a family that hasn't always shown you the same. You stand on character, not noise. That is what makes someone worthy of this name." And for the first time in my life, I felt seen. After the dinner, when everyone left the table, my sister disappeared down the hall, shoulders trembling. Mom followed her. Dad pretended to rinse a plate that was already clean. Grandpa touched my arm. "Walk with me," he said. Outside, under old holiday lights, he told me what I had never allowed myself to believe. You're the one I trust with what comes next, he said. The decisions, the responsibility, the legacy. You've earned all of it. It wasn't the inheritance that mattered. It was the recognition, the validation I had quietly hoped for. My entire life. I drove home that night feeling something I hadn't felt in years. Not small, not invisible, but settled. For so long, I believed I had to earn a place in my own family by being quiet and careful. But that night, I finally understood. Worthiness isn't given by a last name. It's revealed by how you live. Families don't fix themselves overnight. But I walked out of that house carrying my name differently, not as something I was trying to earn, but as something I finally deserved. If you've ever felt unseen in your own family, tell me your story in the comments. And subscribe for more stories like this.